Hello, hello! Ignacy Ciuciek, Portal Games, and this is Portal Games Informant, our weekly vlog in which I meet with Portal Games fans and board game fans from all over the place and discuss different board game topics, including Portal Games topics and all other different things dedicated to board games and sometimes to soccer. We meet every Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific time or other time, I don't know, Eastern time. I think yes, this is Eastern time. 9 a.m. Eastern time. 3 p.m. Polish time, whatever it is. So greetings to all of you who are with us live. Let me check the stream. Hello all, says Tropical Penguin. Hello, hello, says Michał. Audio and video fine, says James. Hello James, how are you? And Dutch is here, and Ruby Walters from Texas is here. So all the gang is here. I'm very happy to see you guys. And let me know in the comments here in the chat what time it is in your time zone and what time zone it is. And please don't put these acronyms, but the full name, so I can read it without being confused for the name. So what time it is at your place right now? 9 a.m. Eastern time, 3 p.m. my time, whatever it means, and eager to know what time it is at your place. And for all of you who are here for the first time, my name is Ignacy Ciuciek. I'm a board game designer. I design games like Detective, I design games like Robinson Crusoe, I design games like Imperial Settlers, and many, many other games. I'm a publisher. I work in the industry since 1999, more than 20 years. And I share my passion to the industry and share my passion to board games each Monday with you guys. So this is the show. The show is divided into three stages. The first stage that you are watching right now is chaotic. Let me just fix it. Microphone is not working. I don't know. First is a chaotic warm up, checking for everybody to come, to be here, discussing various crazy things. Then about 10 minutes in the show, I become serious and we discuss the topic of the week. And today my topic of the week is my top 5 best CCGs I played when I was younger. And then the third part of the show, as always, is an epic Q&A. I answer your questions, so I'm looking at the chat and you're asking me questions and I'm going with this Q&A with you. 9 a.m. in USA, says Joe. Joe, USA is huge. I was in USA and I was very confused. I was driving from Chicago to Indianapolis, and in the meantime the clock changed. I didn't understand what happened. 15 Central European. 3 p.m. same time zone. Daciona is from Netherlands, this is Europe. 2 p.m. here in the UK. Hello James. Hello, hello Ignacy, says Down Mage. 4 p.m. here. UTC +2, whatever it means. Krzysztof asked me if I played Lord of the Rings. I will talk about CCGs in a moment in the topic of the week. First, few things what happened the past weekend. This weekend I played with my wife and my daughter Gates of Delirium from Renegade Games. I found this game in our office. It is a sample sent to us by Renegade Games, and I had a great time. If you like set collection games, because you have to collect the different cards in a set, and if you like dark theme, horror story, the cultists, the dark monsters, this may be for you, so check out on Board Game Geek website the more information. Gates of Delirium. I had a great time with my family playing this horror game this past weekend, and I also played this past weekend all-time classic Ravensburger Mexica from Wolfgang Kramer and Michael Kissling, area control in the old style. So instead of monsters, trolls, dragons, and all other amazing miniatures, you have just pyramids, just the pyramids, and you are fighting for dominance in Mexico. Thinky Euro game in area control genre. Michael Kissling, Wolfgang Kramer, my favorite duo of all time of designers. Question: how do I use the common field promo cards for Empires of the North in solo play? James, I have no clue. I haven't played Imperial Settlers solo for a long time, so please send us put this question in the YouTube below, so I will find it after the recording, and I will ask Johna Kijanke and I will get the answer for you next time. I'm not able to answer today, but I will answer next time. Just put the question in the comment below. Grzegorz is here. Question: what do you think about Asmodee buying Board Game Arena? This is basically the news of the week. I will discuss this with Mr. Bonacor on Board Games Insider this Wednesday. But basically, as I was vocal many times about what Asmodee is doing in acquiring all these smaller companies, I don't feel comfortable in the industry when one big gorilla can just come to you, approach you, and says, "Hey, by the way, you do a good job, we buy you," and that's it. I think they are too big at this point for us to compete with them. So this is a difficult situation. We will see. I guess Mr. Bonacor has a different opinion, so we will see in the podcast. If you don't know, I record podcasts. We publish it every Wednesday. It's called Board Game Insider, Board Games Insider. And we discuss industry topics. Komirowski is here. Nice to see you guys. Update about the Stronghold Undead. We are shipping like crazy. My team at the warehouse is staying long hours shipping, packing, preparing everything for you. Today they gave me to show you the mat for the castle. It's freaking epic. It's absolutely stunning. It's huge. You will have a great time playing the game on this map if you pre-ordered with this mat. It's really hard for us to pack it into the package, so we have to make sure everything is fine, but we have it. So Stronghold Undead shipment in progress. We are shipping like crazy. The mat is here and it looks amazing. And I should have one for myself. So maybe I will pack it for me. And one very important update for all of you who are not understanding what's happening. You are in the Portal Games vlog. In a few minutes there will be a topic of the week, my favorite top 5 CCGs. But before that there's some chaos at the beginning to warm up everybody. We have almost 30 people in the live stream right now. So speaking about the warming up audience, you all know the cookies, and Ignacy is a great team. And you know the many fans here in Poland especially ships in packages cookies to my offices so I can eat them. And here's another example of what happened last week. We received a huge package and it says cookies for Mr. Boss. Have a good one. And of course I opened that, and of course cookies and cookies and cookies and cookies and cookies, and a very nice letter from Jola from Wrocław. This is really happening. If you heard the stories, the boss of Portal Games company is cookies crazy, and fans are shipping to him cookies from all over the places. It's really a fact. It is not a myth. It's true. I'm receiving packages with cookies every single week. And I absolutely love it. So this is what's happening in terms of being crazy Portal Games boss. Looking at the chat, the podcast is interesting. I'm listening to it when I have a time. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. We're trying to be short, to the point. It's about 45 minutes every week. We discuss industry topic and we answer your questions about the industry. So this is quite an original and unique angle compared to other podcasts. Joe says, question: why is the pre-order date for Moloch different for Poland and USA? I don't know what's the date for pre-order. I know that the release for the expansion is early spring. I know that we already have samples here. I have Moloch English edition, so the product is already printed. It is already in our warehouse in Poland. We wait now for it to reach US port and our warehouse, and then we'll be able to ship. So maybe these dates a little bit are different, but basically it's happening. It's happening. So you can pre-order, and as soon as we are ready, we will start shipping to our fans. Here in Poland we have a promo. I don't know if we have this promo in America, how's the status over there, but basically it's ready. It's ready. So pre-order, go to our website, whether you are in America, portalgamesus.com, or you are in Europe, portalgames.pl/en, and pre-order the stuff, and we will ship very, very soon. Mr. Boss as an official translation of Prezes, and this is my translation, so I'm not sure it is official, but this is my translation. Well, normally at Essen you get a lot of cookies to last you a year. So in Essen, the biggest European show, on one Essen, I don't know if it was 2017 or 2016, but we came back to Poland with the whole pallet of cookies. I don't know if you can imagine the whole pallet, the pallet like a warehousing pallet of cookies. And that year, Mary said it's done with these cookies viral, and she forbidden me to discuss cookies topic in interviews. So there's less people knowing about my love for cookies, because she said, Ignacy, it's too much. Just shut up. And for the next years, I had an embargo on discussing cookies. But there is no physical conventions right now, so I can talk about these cookies. Adam says, good morning, good morning. Adam, 10 minutes past, I'm looking at what I should talk about. The Egyptian Kings, we had discussion with our Portal Games USA department, and we hope to have it released in April. So at the very beginning at PortalCon, we announced it is a May release, but we may be ready with April release. So stay tuned, check our social media on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. We are everywhere. By the way, I tried to start a TikTok account this weekend. And it deserves a dedicated story. Ask me one day. Anyway, news, the most important news of today's vlog is February 25th. February 25th, mark the date on your calendar, because something cool will happen. And of course, it has something to do with Robinson Crusoe. So February 25th, remember the date, because something will happen. Are we ready for the topic of the week? So guys, I'm going now to the different screen for discussing a topic of the week. Stay with me, short commercial break, and we see in a moment topic of the week, my top 5 CCGs of 90s. Take care, see you in a moment.
I've got some differences. I'm not going to say Tom's wrong. I'm not saying Tom's wrong. Sometimes he is. This case, it's just a difference of opinion. We got all these guys. The answer is going to be hard. That's all I got to say. And, So, there we go. Initiative 3. Oh, I forgot, that's a 3. Oh, he danced and made that a 3. Dadgummit. Well, I screwed up on that one.
And we are back, Portal Games Informant. We meet every Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. European Time. And we discuss with fans of board games different topics. Sometimes there are very, very serious topics, like last week I discussed conventions problems in the industry. And sometimes there are much more free, easy, funny topics like this one today. My favorite top 5 CCGs of 90s, so less dreadful than the last week. Starting with the short information, back then in Poland, we had communism. You probably heard it from the history books. So there was this whole culture of sports cards that were popular in America. And when we were kids, we didn't have these things that we were able to trade, all these trading cards phenomenon. It was for us something absolutely new, and we didn't know that from our childhood. So when the first CCGs show up in Poland, it was mind-blowing. You guys in America already heard about these TCGs. You saw as a kid in the school, baseball cards, football cards, etc., etc. We didn't have that in Poland. We suddenly discovered Magic the Gathering. We suddenly discovered CCGs, and it was really, really mind-blowing. My first number 5, it's not my first choice, but it's number 5. Can I have a slide? Number 5, Doomtrooper. It was the first CCG published in Poland. There was the first CCG published in Polish language. And to be honest, there was not many other in the future. Like Poland was a far too small country. and there was not enough money in the country to support the CCGs, but Doomtrooper was very successful. It was insanely popular because that was, as I said in the introduction, the first CCG whatever. So we discovered that, and it was absolutely amazing. I was in high school when it was released in Poland, and of course, yes, I was buying this like crazy, as all of you, when you were younger, you were buying probably Magic the Gathering and all other cards. Yes, I was a Doomtrooper player. I was trying to do some tournaments without any success, of course. I had a chance, and this is something that I remember till today, so it's like 30 years later. I had a chance to play against the master of Poland, who won the tournament in Poland, who was very high in the rankings in the European Championship. I don't remember if he was second or third place in the European Championship, but he was the guy for the Doomtrooper. He was very famous when he came from this international tournament to Poland, and he was this star, and he lived in Silesia, very close to my city, so I was able to meet him in one of the gaming clubs, and I played against him, and it was my moment of my childhood when I was playing against a champion. When he played against me, I didn't play any single card because his whole deck was built around the draw a card, play a card, draw a card, play a card, and the opponent didn't even have a chance to hand a round. So my game against him lasted about 1 minute, and I didn't have a chance to play even a single card. I lost before my turn started. Doomtrooper was not the best game on the planet. I bought a couple of decks a few years ago because of the sentiment. I tried to play it against Mary. It sucked. It's a very poor game. I don't recommend you to buy it. I don't recommend you to play it. But back then, when I was in high school, that was my magic. That was my discovery. That was something that I spent far too much money on it. Number 4, Warcry. Back then, when Warcry was released, I was already in the industry. I had a game store, believe it or not. It was called Nostromo. And the game was pretty popular back then because in Poland we had, and especially in my store, we had a huge scene for Warhammer Battle. So there was a lot of miniature players who played Warhammer Battle and Warhammer 40k, and they all loved Games Workshop universe. And when the Warcry was released, of course, many of these miniature players decided to try this CCG. Of course, I was one of them. I played Warhammer Battle since my childhood, since my high school times. I had this huge dwarf army. And when the Warcry was released, of course, I wanted to have my deck for dwarves and to play it. I collected a ton of cards because the artwork was amazing, and I absolutely loved the whole lore of the game. I haven't played a single game of it. I just collected that. I was just buying the boosters. But I was so busy running Portal Games, I was so busy running Nostromo store that I was believing that one day I will play it, one day I will have a time to play it. And I was just buying to have all these different cards, all these dwarf cards, all these artworks. And here we are 20 years later, I didn't play this game. I hope it was fine, but I know the game, of course, died after a few months or years. So in the end, it was not that good as Magic the Gathering. And of course, as a perfect summary, of course, I lost all these cards. So I was collecting them, hoping that I will play later. And then, of course, I didn't play. And then I lost my whole collection. So Warcry, I spent a ton of money on that. And I haven't had one single play. How true to the whole CCG format it is.
Rolling Dice and Taking Names says Warcry is an amazing game. First card game I've played where position on the table made a difference. Maybe it's true, maybe not. You don't know because you never played.
Thank you for this comment that it was a good game, because that makes me even more sad that I haven't had a chance to play it and I lost all the cards that I bought. Probably I will, at one day, I will buy them on eBay or something like that just to have them back and to finally at least play it. But Warcry, I had a great memories of collecting all these cards. I just needed to play it. And number 3 for me, a Legend of the Five Rings. I was collecting Scorpion Clan, and I played this game like once or twice.
Better than Warcry.
Better than Warcry. I was a huge collector guy. I was not player. Of course, I loved Legend of the Five Rings because of role-playing game. Legend of the Five Rings, written and designed by John Wick and Kevin Wilson. Amazing role-playing game with a great lore, all these stories and characters and locations, and I fell in love with the world. So when there was a CCG, of course I was buying these cards because I wanted to have these portraits of these non-player characters, and till today, 20 years later, I remember the most famous character from Legend of the Five Rings lore, Bayushi Kachiko from Scorpion Clan. Who knows Legend of the Five Rings for sure knows this character. And I was very happy hearing all these stories. I was very active in the scene of the players. I was just not playing because I didn't know the rules very well and my deck was not very good, but I was there listening how they play, how they discuss, and all these things dedicated to the lore. Back then, Alderac Entertainment, known today as AIG, had this amazing concept that when there was at the Gen Con or another big event tournaments, national-wide tournaments, the winners of these tournaments were influencing the whole lore of the game. So when there was supplements published for the role-playing game, when there was an official lore informations, the winners of these tournaments had actual influence on the development of the whole world and the storyline of the world. I absolutely loved it. I remember myself reading in the internet the reports from the tournaments to understand what will happen in the lore. Brilliant idea. That was the best way to merge the tournament scene and community scene with the actual lore of the game and storyline of the game. And back then, we are talking about the beginning of 2000s, before Facebook, before Instagram, before TikTok. That was absolutely brilliant from Alderac to create this community-based storyline of the game. As I said, I had my deck. A friend of mine, Tomasz Kowalewski, was a champion for Poland. He was champion for Europe. My team, the guys who were playing this game at my store, Nostromo, in Gliwice, were going to international European championship and on a regular basis coming back to Poland with medals, gold medal, silver medal, bronze medal. My team, my Nostromo, was known in the whole Europe as one of the best players in Europe. So I was very proud of them. I was very proud of myself that I created this community of players, and I was not even trying to play against them because it would be disaster. Legend of the Five Rings, my top CCG because of the lore, because how the publisher, Alderac Entertainment Group, back then was running this whole storyline and the whole tournament scene was so involving. So that was my number 3, I think, pick. And now number 2. Finally, a game I played. I played a lot. Doomtown, another huge publisher back then from the 90s. They had Pinnacle Entertainment. Pinnacle Entertainment was publishing the role-playing game Deadlands. And oh my God, I love Deadlands. I ran a ton of scenarios, ton of campaigns, ton of adventures for Deadlands. Deadlands was one of the biggest influences for me when I was writing Neuroshima role-playing game. So kudos to Shane, who wrote Deadlands. This one single role-playing game made Neuroshima what it was back then. I absolutely loved Deadlands, and because I loved the Deadlands, I had to play Doomtown, and it was the CCG that I had a ton of decks. That was the CCG that I really was sitting at home creating these decks, which is unusual for me because I don't have a patience for that, and I have all these mad scientists and all these different factions, great theme, great artwork, great rules. If you are talking about the different CCGs, and I talked that I love the Legend of the Five Rings because of the lore, that I love Warcry because of the dwarves and love for Games Workshop. With this, I loved everything. I loved the theme of the game. I loved the mechanism of the game. It was very smart and very unique. I loved the fact that I was good at this game and I was winning quite often, so everything was perfect. With these cards, I still have them at home. I didn't lost my decks, I still can play this game. Mary, my wife, doesn't like it, so I cannot play against her, but at least if there's anybody on the planet who says, hey Ignacio, let's play Deadlands, I'm ready for playing another game of Doomtown. And as I said, I ran a role-playing game, Deadlands. I played Doomtown, the CCG, and the whole thing was absolutely amazing. And my number one for my favorite CCGs of that time, Game of Thrones CCG. Back then, before HBO series became so popular, it was beginning of the whole craziness for Game of Thrones. FFG released this CCG, and I, as the owner of Nostromo game store, I imported this to the store, and of course some players bought the decks, and I got interested, and I got sucked into it. And with this game, I played in a tournament, believe it or not. Till today, 20 years later, I have this certificate that in one of the tournaments I was on a third place, which for me was a huge achievement because I was never a good tournament player. But at least one day in my life I made something, and I have it till today. Amazing game. I love all of the games that were designed back then by Eric Lang. So we are talking about the Game of Thrones. We are talking about the Call of Cthulhu. I don't remember the name of it. Was a Call of Cthulhu, or it was just Call of Cthulhu. And it was Warhammer Invasion. There was 3 LCGs that Eric did before they were called LCGs. There was Game of Thrones CCG, and I was, yes, buying these booster packs. Yes, I was buying started. I was playing Targaryens. And on a personal note, the peak of my interest in this game was for my darkest time in my personal life, because I was during divorce, and it was very difficult for me. And I remember me being in a very poor condition and very sad, and my buddies, my gaming friends, visiting me and playing this Game of Thrones. It was the only highlight of my life back then, and the whole period of my life back then rather terrible, and I have no good memories whatsoever except playing Game of Thrones with my friends. 2 of them are visiting me quite often, and we played the 3-player variant, which is the best for Game of Thrones. And it was the only moments on that time that I was smiling and happy and chit-chatting and trash-talking and all that time. So Game of Thrones, I'm still playing it, and now of course in the 2nd edition LCG, and I played against my kids, so this is quite a change of the pace, but my kids are now adults. So Game of Thrones, it was the best CCG I played back then at the beginning of 2000s, and I still play it now in the LCG form. That is my top 5 amazing games, starting with Doomtown, Doomtrooper, and then Warcry, and Legend of the 5 Rings, and Deadlands, and Game of Thrones. All of them amazing except Doomtrooper. Sorry, Doomtrooper, but it was not an amazing game. There was many other games that I tried, many other games that I collected. 90s, end of the 90s and the beginning of 2000s, it was a golden era for CCG. There was so many of them released. There was a Polish edition of Lord of the Rings CCG. You played Lord of the Rings CCG?
Yes, I played.
It was based on the movie, right? With the
You mean about that cooperative CCG?
It was cooperative?
I think so.
It was a patch, I don't know. It was along with the movie. I didn't play it, but many players in my store played Lord of the Rings because it was released in Polish. There was of course 7C CCG that I played and I liked, and many other games. The golden era of CCGs. I kind of miss it. All these tournaments and creating these decks and buying all these starter sets. And discussing different strategies, and then there's a new CCG and everybody's trying to buy this and check this. And of course a huge seller back then in Poland, Vampire CCG. We had once again a very strong team here in my store, and once again they were some of my customers, some of my community guys were winners for a European Championship. So my store was quite famous in Europe in Legend of the 5 Rings and Vampire Masquerade scene, and we had a couple of European champions, which was kind of cool back then. So this is my top 5. As the slide says, what was your favorite CCG of the 90s? Leave us, tell us in your comments what you played, which of these 5 games you played, which of these 5 games you liked, and what I missed. Of course, there was a Netrunner, CCG, very
Oh, I
popular
love
back then.
Netrunner. It's
So
my favorite.
we can talk about the CCGs, and all of us have amazing, amazing memories from that period. As I said, for us, especially in Poland, because of our communism time, we had no this trading cards, football cards. So for us, discovering CCG was like really, really mind-blowing. It was my memories from childhood. This was my great, great memories from CCGs. It was what I was spending money for back then. And this is Portal Games Informant. We meet every Monday, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. European Time, and we discuss different topics, sometimes very serious, like last week about the convention situation in world, and sometimes lighter topics like today, just discussing all those CCGs. I hope to see you every week on Monday. And now short commercial break, and I go back to another camera, and we do epic Q&A. So you ask questions, I answer them. So stay tuned. See 1 or 2 commercials, and see you in a moment.
Open, if you dare.
I've got some differences. I'm not going to say Tom's wrong. I'm not saying Tom's wrong. Sometimes he is. This case, it's just a difference of opinion. We got all these guys. The answer is going to be hard. That's all I got to say. And, So, there we go. Initiative 3. Oh, I forgot that's a 3. Oh, he danced and made that a 3. Dadgummit. Well, I screwed up on that one.
Hello, and we are back. I'm back. And the last part of the Portal Games Informant, as I said, now is the time for Q&A. So I'm checking the chat, and now is your time to ask me any questions. We can discuss CCGs, we can discuss soccer, we can discuss football, we can discuss basketball, and we can discuss board games if you wish. So I'm here for you for another 15 minutes. Let me just. And this microphone is really, really. Oh! It's now much better. Netrunner was originally LCCG before it was republished as LCG. This is exactly true, Joe. It was first from, I think it was Wizard of the Coast version for Netrunner, very popular also in Poland. And then FFG released it as a LCG. This is absolutely true. I'm trying to figure out the LCG of Marvel Championship. This is a whole new arena for me to understand. Yes, LCGs changed the whole format, made it much more customer friendly. And FFG, I think, did a good decision. Although I also absolutely loved the CCG format and buying these boosters and hoping for something amazing and something rare and checking what your friend just bought. It had some amazing feeling, that's for sure. Netrunner, Doomtown Reloaded, Arkham Horror CG. Doomtown Reloaded didn't make a lot of splash. It was not very successful. It was released in 2014. Along with Imperial Settlers, I brought from Gen Con a copy of Doomtown Reloaded, but it didn't click with me. I prefer the old version of the game. I have tried to ask you to wish me happy birthday Friday, but there were too many people and I couldn't break through. Could you do it now, please? Maciej, I saw it because after the Planszówki TV, I checked the whole stream and I saw all your questions, but it was too late because, of course, stream was closed. Where's my Merlin? Can I have my Merlin for Maciej? Maciej, especially for you, Merlin will sing because you absolutely deserve it. Happy birthday to you. I wish I could sing. That would be much better. Maciej, all the best. Happy birthday. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for being fun of Portal Games and being with us all the streams and all our crazy actions. I wish you a great upcoming year. I wish you a ton of cakes, cookies, and all the best things from me, from Merlin, from Marek, from everybody else. Stay well, play amazing, amazing games, and thank you once again for being our fan and being with us. I appreciate that. That was important. Marvel Champions is really good, says Jakub. Marek, our operator, is playing Marvel Champions on a regular basis and buying all these packs of Ant-Mans and Doctor Strange and all these other characters. I'm playing Arkham Horror LCG, and we both love these games. When is 51st State or Empires of the North big boxes coming out? Asked Don. Don, there is no plans for 51st State, the big box, that's for sure. And as for the Empires of the North, it might happen next year, I confirm. Rolling Dice and Taking Name says, question, would you ever consider doing an LCG? Neuroshima Hex would be a great theme for LCG. Rolling Dice Taking Names, we were considering that, but we decided that we are too small company to run a legit, amazing, well-done LCG, and that's why at the very beginning, 2014, when we started with Imperial Settlers, I might remember, we decided to release these small packs, like we didn't start the fire, why can't we be friends, 3 is a magic number, and they were planned to be released 1 per quarter. Of course, it was too fast for us, we were not able to play test and design that fast. We didn't have that many developers in the studio back then, and overall Imperial Settlers changed to just a regular card game with regular releases. For sure, in the future we might decide to go with the format, but not LCG like FFG, so every 2 months or every month or every 2 months a new expansion, but like every quarter new expansion, every quarter new expansion. This is, I think, that we can pull it off, but first of all you have to create amazing game, so there is enough customers wanting to play it. Happy birthday to Maci, everybody confirms that. So many questions. I will say my favorite was Jihad. That vampire game was very interactive multiplayer. As I said, we had a ton of vampire players here in Poland because vampire role-playing game was very popular, and there's vampire CCG when you discuss and do all these political discussions. It was very popular. Mr. Gruszek says, what killed CCG for me was the pace. I just couldn't keep up with the amount of stuff that was released. Yes, all the CCGs work because of the tournament scene. And to have a tournament scene, you have to have all new cards. So players, these professional players, have new ideas for the cards, new ideas for the decks. You have to change the set of the cards. So there's no winning deck that will win all the tournaments for the upcoming 6 months. So if you run the professional CCG, like Magic the Gathering, you need to have quite a good pace with all the new releases, all the new combos, all the new rulings, all the new changes, so everybody is engaged and have to adjust and buy new cards and new cards. So yes, if you go for CCG, you must remember, yes, there is a pace because of tournaments. Roger says, back then Middle Earth, the Wizards and the Vampires, now Arkham Lord LCGs. As I said, I absolutely love my Arkham Horror LCG box, which is right now a big suitcase with all these cards. But I don't mind coming to some CCGs. I think we have a problem with the camera.
I think so.
I hope you still have no problem with my voice. So guys, now you are in the special episode of Portal Games Informant, that is a podcast. I saw the information that it is too warm and it needs to cool down, so it will probably take a few minutes or no. This is why, dear listeners, I cannot say viewers, this is why our listeners, I'm afraid of coming to planes, because something can always happen with this stupid technology. Portal is doing card games. 51st State is the best tableau builder I play. Thank you, Joe, I appreciate that. As I said, we could try to hire a few more developers and create bigger pace for the game, but we are not doing that at this very moment. Hi Ignace, I have a question. Mystery Tales has dice stickers. Do you consider relaunch as normal engraved dice I would buy? Yes, we will. Please check out our Kickstarter for Robinson Crusoe. It will be there as an additional buy. I think that Moloch has reached Portal HQ. It may happen one day for sure. Picture is gone. Yes, I'm back. Guys, it's almost 3:45 p.m. in Poland. So once again, thank you for being with us. This is Portal Games Informant. We meet every Monday, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. European Time to talk about board games for 45 minutes. Sometimes there is a very serious topic like top 10 industry news of past year, dramatic situation of conventions, etc., etc. Sometimes it's a much more lighter theme like CCGs, like designers, like my best games I played last year, etc., etc. If you like this show, please give us a like, I appreciate that. If you like the whole format, please subscribe. We post one video every single Monday, so if you subscribe and you click the bell notification, you will not miss it. So I appreciate that. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for all thumbs up. Thank you for all subscribe buttons. And if you have an opinion about CCGs, which CCGs you played, which CCGs you prefer, because one more thing, there's always one more thing. 2 or 3 years ago, I bought a ton of old CCGs that I have right now at home, and they wait for me to play them. I should bring them, by the way, to show them. So you can give me in the comments which CCGs you liked, which CCGs you recommend, because I need to have the list which one I need to open. I remember I have at home not played the Rage CCG. I have not played the Eve, EVE, EVE Online CCG. I have a Conan, I think, a CCG. I have a ton of. I bought like a whole box of all CCGs, all the starter packs, including Doomtrooper, and that was a bad decision. Anyway, thank you for being with us. Give us a like, give us a thumbs up, give us a comment with the information on which CCGs I should play next. Thank you for being with us. See you next Monday, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. European Time.